What's up, villains? Come on in, take off your shoes, sit down, have a drink or a smoke, cure what ails you. Welcome to Villainous Cinema, the YouTube series, where we discuss rumors and forecasts, and also movie breakdowns. Tonight's movie breakdown is brought to you by Nicholas Valdez. Nikki, do you want to say hi to everybody?
Hey, everybody. Thanks so much for joining us. Tonight, we'll be breaking down a more recent picture, which has gotten a lot of fan favorites, or a lot of support, we'll call it, is DUNE 2021 by Dennis Villainous, or whatever, however you pronounce it. And do apologize. Anyway.
And also here is Pepe. Pepe from Mexico. So,
hola, buenas noches. Nice to be back, and it's Denis Villeneuve for the francophone speakers because they're gonna get mad.
I know, like Villeneuve, right?
Villeneuve, but
oh man, like because I said Villeneuve, and like it was like it's very very strange how
and
it's not.
Is it Dennis or?
Can I just say Dennis?
Denis. I think it's Denis.
Right?
I think it's Denis.
Okay.
I don't know.
We're gonna fuck all this up, man. It's gotta be that. Anyways, we are a listener-supported podcast supported by people just like you. If you want to support Villainous Cinema, smash that support and subscribe to us. And if you don't want to, go ahead and visit us at villainouscinema.com. Pledge to our Patreon account at patreon.com/villainouscinema. And also, if you want to, hit us up on Spotify, iTunes, and every single place that you find your favorite podcasts. If not, follow us on Facebook or Instagram at Villainous Cinema. And, if you want to follow me on the Twitter, it is at Evan Landon. And we'll all be giving all our Twitter handles and our handles at the very end of this. No? Pepe's shaking his head. No.
I'm not giving any of that.
But yeah, no. Let's. If you guys want to jump in, do you guys want to just like go head deep on this, or what?
Yeah, we want to. Yes.
All right, let's get into it. So we're talking about the 2021
DUNE.
This offering of DUNE.
Yeah.
Which I'm like, if I'm correct though. So DUNE. It was written in 1965 by Frank Herbert.
Well,
and it's only about the first half of the book.
The book. I mean, I
honestly have other books that follow.
More about this. Isn't it 7 books that have got broken down into? Isn't it?
There's a lot, yeah. I mean, there's the Children of DUNE.
Anyway, like, okay. From what the picture is, okay, you're talking about when the book was written, okay, apparently 1969. I should know 65. More, but I don't. Okay, I'm just reviewing the picture right now. We're just reviewing
Ranger. Just this let everyone.
Okay, so and it, to our knowledge at this point is this is the first part of a 2-part series that Denis is going to be doing. Okay, so we'll just continue. I'm going to just start out with my general consensus of general view on this picture. As far as the story goes, like just to start out. And I'll tell you this. The first time that I watched it, I just disliked it. Absolutely.
Which the first time you watched this one or the first one?
Yeah, the first time I watched this, I just totally disliked it.
Did you ever see the David Lynch one from 1984 or no?
Yeah, but it's probably been like 20 years. Like I saw like
a lot of differences.
I don't remember it.
I don't even remember it. So
there's
but
I'll bring it up.
My point was I was really looking forward to this movie. Like I was like, man, this is gonna be one of the year's best, and I was like really pumped. Like you remember earlier in the year, guys. Like I was like really excited for this picture to come out. And when I watched this the first time, I was super let down.
Really?
I was like, this sucks. You know, like I was like, and it kind of took me until a second viewing to like reassess that and kind of be like, okay, it doesn't suck, but there's still things that I was really disappointed in it. Okay.
Okay.
You know, I felt that the story was slow. I felt that the story did not give a proper first act to develop any of the relevant characters. For us to really have an idea who they were before they started moving through the world that was being created by the director and by the production team and by the visual effects team, okay? I felt like very little was given in concentration to as far as the acting. I thought very little. Most of the attention was given to the cinematography and the production design and some of the more aesthetic visual context of the story.
So you think like they went way too overboard with the visuals?
Yeah, like I mean,
That's your overall criticism of the
overboard.
movie.
It's not that they went overboard. I just feel like that he didn't concentrate on the performance. Like it almost felt like the story one wasn't being, like I said, it didn't have like a proper first act to develop the characters. Okay. Two, it was a pretty slow story to begin with. Okay. I've said this many times to you. When you're taking a huge book, you can decide how far and how fast, and in film, how fast you want to progress through the story. You don't have to spend a long time on meaningless bullshit. But they did it purposefully to drag it on to be a two-part as opposed to one. You know?
Yeah. Well, Pepe, what do you think?
I agree in some parts with Nikki. I do had my expectations high on the movie based on the director. I'm a big fan of Denis
Yeah.
because of what he did with Arrival and Blade Runner, and to some of the extent he delivered for me. So, for example, this is a big picture. This is a cinematography event. This is something that you would like to put on the theater, and he accomplished that because he's using similar things on the movie, like the objects that you are recognized with, parallel to how big the world is or how big this spices machine is. So that puts you in that perspective of, yeah, this is a different world, this is big. Another thing that I liked is cinematography. I thought the lightning and cinematography was good. You could see yourself on different worlds. I mean, it was red and yellow and strong, and then it was more bluish, the other one, and then more serious and diplomatic one. So I really love that
It was
part.
like the contrasting of the cinematography, I think was brilliant.
You can tell from that part, but I do agree with Nikki saying from the actors and the cast that you have, you could have done so much more. And it might be me being picky because I've seen Oscar Isaac, and I'm a big fan of Oscar Isaac, and there's a couple of scenes in there where I thought, hey, let's go crazy, like Ex Machina type of crazy.
Yeah.
So almost to that point, I thought it could have been one of those acting, but it didn't get there. It was more contained, similar to Timothée Chalamet. I'm not a big fan of him, but he did a good job. Troubled Child, having visions.
I honestly cannot name you one movie that I've seen him in. But I
Uh,
thought he did a great job, though.
Call Me by Your Name.
I never saw that one.
He was on Don't Look Up, a recent one that
He
we
was in that one, the
discussed.
recent one.
Yeah,
Yeah, my mom's watching that right now. She says
yeah.
it's really
So
good.
I think I agree with Nikki on that part. But coming back to being a big picture with a lot of budget and showing big things is like he's not he's the Nolan type, showing you that we can do big motion pictures, but he's not self-indulgent like Nolan. I mean, Denis, I think he's doing it for the fans because I knew the story. I'm
So
not
you
a.
did you read the story or
I did not read the book. I
okay?
saw the first movie.
You saw the movie with the David
Yeah.
Lynch film from 1985. Okay,
Yes,
great. So we can
and
talk about that.
and that,
Like the
for
comparison,
example,
we can compare this.
this movie is twice as long, and that movie had the whole story in one
Yeah,
thing.
and I'll also like go ahead and say this about that one movie. David Lynch, as great as he is, trust me, David Lynch is amazing. Blue
Agree.
Velvet, Eraserhead, Elephant Man, like all these are amazing movies. This is the movie that he said he's just like he wants to forget. He wants it off of his list, like of his. He wants it off his filmography. Um, and that's like to me, it's kind of like a I don't know, man. It's a quick fix for me. I'll fall asleep to that movie because the soundtrack by Toto. You got the Baron von Fartbag is just like spinning around in his mystical like scooter, like so it's just like floating around. And then I thought that this one it was toned down a lot more with Stellar Skateboard, Stellan Skarsgård. Sorry, it's Paul S. Thompson. But yeah, no, with Stellan Skarsgård, who I know from one of my favorite movies, Ronin. He he did a great job at this, and it's a completely different take on the Harkonnen. Sorry, Harkonnen. Like in the first movie, it was called Harkonnen, and this one's Harkonnen. And you got the Molecule Man from Suicide Squad, who's doing like, and you got the guttural sounds like, which I thought was really cool. That was cool. I like that take on it.
Yeah, that movie back then did not have the same sound effects, did not have the same cinematography. Uh, Talking about sound, for example, another thing that I loved is Hans Zimmer. Great choice for that. Great score. Good ambience, making it feel huge. But it's not like the Hans Zimmer of before, because some of the movies of Hans Zimmer is this a movie with Hans Zimmer's score, or this is like a video made for Hans Zimmer's music? So I think this is better. It's going well with the movie, but I do agree with Nikki. I think it was too low. There is no arch that is being closed in this one.
Yeah.
Clearly from the start it said it's chapter 1 or part 1, so we know that probably we don't know that it's going to be made part 2 because that's
Well, no, they say it like at the very beginning, in the title credits. It's like just for a second though. Like it goes like chapter 1. Or yeah, whatever. It's like chapter 1, and it's just for a second. In which case, it's like, oh well, this is going to carry on. And then in which case, in the David Lynch version, it's like it's very very erratic. Because if you've
No,
read the
just
book,
felt it was
which I did,
boring.
I've read the book. In which case, there's like parts in it where you are aware of everybody's thoughts. In the David Lynch version, there's like just people talking in their minds, and you're not sure. Like you can hear their thoughts. In this one, there's none of that shit. Like they trust the audience to know that they don't need the exposition in order to make a good movie, and that's what I really liked about it. I mean, with the old one though, it was always like, oh, these thoughts, oh, fear is the mind killer. Blah blah blah. It's like, oh God, I'm going to have to one day do this. It was just like it's a boggled mess,
now.
and
Evan,
it's so good though. I
no,
still stand by.
you're the nerd of the movie and the book. Great catch from Nosfer, a tuna fish that she just mentioned. That it's true. They never said he who controls the spice controls the universe. Is that true? I didn't catch it in the new one. So
It's well, okay. So here's what happens in the books. I only hold on. Let me get it real quick.
oh,
Talk
here
amongst
we
yourselves.
go.
Hold on.
Somebody somebody's going to try to sell us, Nikki, the book, and that we should go and buy it. And I've seen this story before, so I'm not gonna read the book.
Yeah.
But I don't know if you agree with me on the cinematography piece.
I think the cinematography was really good. Okay, but and I'll bring you to one film by
Yeah,
Denis that
I'm
I
back.
really like, and I'm not a huge fan of his, but Denis, I really like Sicario. The
Oh yeah,
performances were good on top of being an action film, on top of being having really beautiful cinematography. So he didn't do that with this. He didn't have good performances. He didn't have good execution of the story.
Well,
And
and
I'll
he
say this. I'll say
right,
this too. Okay, go on.
and he's using the same cast on Sicario for this one, at least Brolin and Benicio del Toro.
yeah,
Yeah.
some of
Well,
them. Like
there's no Benicio del Toro in this one. It
all I'm
needed.
saying,
There's
there.
Javier Bardem
I
though.
mean, I'm sorry. Yes, I'm confusing Bardem with Benicio. Spaniards, Españoletes.
One of them's married to Penelope Cruz. One of them is not.
Great point of how to differentiate from each other.
One was in a James Bond movie. The other. Oh, actually, they both were in James Bond movies. Huh. Forgot about that. License to Kill.
So you brought your little magic book.
Oh yes. So this is the story of Dune by Frank Herbert. I read this when I was a child, and there's an entire fucking glossary in the back of like terms. Like what is a kinjal? It's a double-bladed sword or a long knife about 20 centimeters or slightly curved blade. What the fuck? Like, how would you know this unless you looked in the back of the book? These are all like terms, and then you get Smice map. You get the map of the worlds. These are all things that it's a whole entire world that this man created.
Very
Frank Herbert back in
Tolkien.
1965. Now
Very
he
Tolkien light.
also made a whole series included Dune Messiah, Children of Dune. It's my favorite. God Emperor of Dune, Heretics of Dune, and Chapter House Dune. And then he died.
Now
Uh,
these
so he wasn't able to
this
carry it on.
this movie is only going to be talking about Dune, the Dune book, right?
I don't know because like that's one of the things is that with this adaptation, it's just the first novel. So the first movie, the one that David Lynch made, that one was it encompassed the entire book. And there was a
Mm-hmm.
lot of things that fans were completely upset about because it did not have a lot of the stuff from uh, the original Dune. In which case, if you go back to it too, some of this is just a lot of this just they're just giving the fans what they want, as far as like a movie goes. They really just want like a good adaptation of the first book. In which case, like if you go back and look at what David Lynch said about like when George Lucas approached him to do Star Wars. This is one of the funniest interviews of all time. You gotta go look at it. But he's like Wookiees? What the hell is this? And he went back and made Dune instead, and he regrets doing that. So like with this, I guess it's a fan service at this point.
But
And
but if you can tell, if the
after
movie
50
is
years,
just if it's just made for fans, it's leaving a lot of people out because as
Yeah.
Nikki said, nothing is close in this first one. There is no story. I mean, comparisons to Lord of the Rings. There was a conflict that happened in that movie, and that conflict was resolved or at least reached to one point. And in this one, I don't know if it's keeping people hanging because I want to Nick to watch the second one because of it. But I agree with Nikki. It's like,
Yeah,
what?
and it's
should we show our shirts off for a second?
it's important. it's really important for
Merry
each
Christmas from the Wet Bandits.
to stand on its own.
What, this one? The new one?
No, in general, like it's really important for each film to be able to stand on its own, whether it's in a part of a franchise or not. Like it needs to be able to stand on its own.
When I was watching it, I could see like how some people were pretty upset with this movie, and it's because it just leaves off in the middle of the book. And in which case, in the Lynchian, I think that's actually a term. The Lynchian version, it just like all of a sudden he meets Sean Young, and then it's 4 years later, and he has a sister who has like a deep demonic voice, who he used Alicia Witt, I guess he used in later movies and stuff, with all of his Twin Peaks. That was just like odd. You're just like spun into it. This world. Can we talk about the beginning of the last movie though? Like at the very beginning of the David Lynch version.
Too much
At the very beginning of the David
I
Lynch version.
I don't
hold on.
remember. I don't remember.
Virginia Madsen comes up and she's just this floating head in the screen,
Like,
and she's like telling you about this world, blah blah blah. And she's and then she's like, "Oh no, I almost forgot." She fades out and comes back in. It's very unnerving. You're like, what? And then there's this, I don't know. It's just this giant testicle and brain testicle, in which case that's how they're able to go between spice planets. The spice has changed a human so much so to where they are able to bend space and time. And then the David Lynch version, it starts off right there, and it tells you that the Emperor is going to. Should we spoil everything now, or what?
No, stop.
Okay, you go.
Okay, talk about the current movie that people are actually going to remember. Okay. That came out just recently, as opposed to the one that came out 30 fucking years ago.
Now
that would be Nikki. A good idea, right, Evan?
Nikki,
it's closer to 40.
Okay.
What
about acting? Did you like Stellan Skarsgård?
Stellan Skarsgård. Oh, Stellar Skateboard. Love him.
I think he, to me, is one of the most iconic acting from that one. It's a good counterpart.
Very underappreciated.
I do like him as the evil character. He's acting, he delivers. I mean, I believe it. You start to hate it. It's like, okay, that's the one that I see. Okay, that's a job well done.
He was in the original Girl with the Dragon Tattoo.
Down the different actors, okay, that I saw like as good performances and as bad performances.
Yeah.
Okay, so I felt that Oscar Isaac, he did well, but he wasn't really given the opportunity to really get to know his character, nor how he would approach different situations. Okay?
I agree completely.
Oscar Isaac. I thought Brolin did okay. Okay? Skarsgård did okay.
Brolin was playing the part that Patrick Stewart played in the first one.
I don't remember. Stop referencing the old one.
Whatever. It's like Patrick Stewart played Josh Brolin.
50 years ago. Come on.
I wasn't even born. I'm like 20, man. Remember?
Like, okay. Anyway.
Never. I grew up on.
So Skarsgård, okay.
Mermaid Man.
Rebecca Ferguson did okay.
Hey, Rebecca. Now let's talk about that one.
Like probably one of the best performances in the entire picture. Okay, if you're gonna give anybody, but Timothée Chalamet, that was given the opening ticket, he fucking did awfully.
Chalamet did a great job. He
did awfully. His tonality was so. It almost felt like him and Rebecca were in two different movies.
Lady Rebecca.
Okay.
Yeah, but
isn't that kind of like
she's
weird?
Outstanding.
Him and
can we talk about their names though for a second?
No.
Just for
what's the?
Duncan, Idaho.
Who gives a shit?
Oh, the Jason Momoa, the Mermaid Man. Well, you have to blame the writer of the novel, and I'm not messing with that. He's long gone from this universe, and it cannot be changed anything. So I don't mind the name. It's just the Mermaid Man for me. But
That's what
one,
Nikki said. He said just like don't pay attention to the names.
yeah, man,
Duncan, Idaho.
just move on.
What the
It's,
fuck?
it's like Pepe from Mexico. You see, there's a lot of brain usage in there. Now,
Who cares? Whatever.
the Oscar Isaac
Some of these names are
and
just
Rebecca,
Yeah.
that combination of having parents and children in movie, it always is driven by either hatred or the kid being punished, and this one is based in love, if you want to see it, and protection, and it's, I think it's well driven by Rebecca on that whole acting.
I think her performance is the best in the movie, and I think that Oscar Isaac and her met. They're good together. It feels like they are.
It feels like a family
Legit.
unit.
Yeah,
Feels-
it's legit.
There's tone there. They're feeding off of each other's performances. Okay, even though they don't do a lot of scenes together, it's like, you can feel that they're the same tone. Whereas Timothy, I'm sorry, man. Like, what was going on? It was like you were a different person within a movie that had a different tone.
He's a young actor.
Again, I
So-
say that the director paid too little attention to the acting and the performance and the story development within this movie, and too much on the aesthetic visual context of it.
Yep.
Okay, so I'm not saying the visual wasn't beautiful. It is gorgeous.
It is
but
amazing.
you pay, but script is king. You pay attention to the performances. You put every dollar you got on the screen. So
Yeah.
I think it was.
No, I'm actually going to go ahead and I've let it go because because the Duncan Idaho thing,
Oh.
but her name is Lady Jessica,
Okay.
and it's Rebecca Ferguson.
Oh. Yeah. Now,
Sorry, I just let you go.
some people might be also expecting that they were looking for Zendaya on the movie. She doesn't come up a lot.
Use
It's
her.
more.
She is barely.
She's just
in the
a
movie.
vision. Is just very
Wait,
rarely.
you
used.
mean MJ?
Yeah, whatever. Like,
MJ from the Spider-Verse
Oh, yeah.
crossover, bro.
sure.
You're just making me confused, man. Stay on track. It's like, who did I lost the character? Who's MJ?
Okay.
No, it's Mary Jane from the Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, we're talking about Dune. Like, they didn't use her.
Sorry, Pepe.
It's just, it was a bad movie, man. It wasn't that good.
Oh, you liked it.
It was a bad movie.
I don't know if I could.
let's
I don't know if I
let's
could
go
call
on.
it bad. I would call it not meeting my expectations. If I could have seen it in the movie theater, I probably would have enjoyed it in the
More.
big screen with Hans Zimmer, more in the world. I think cinematography wise and being a movie made for theater, I would enjoy it.
Like I would love to
we've-
have seen it in IMAX theater.
Yeah, that's my point as well. I
That would be
would
awesome.
pay to watch that one, though it's slow, even though I don't think nothing's
We need to
closing in
put
this
that out
one.
there. Put
But-
Dune back out so
but
we can
that's-
see it in IMAX there.
That's my point on that one, because we have talked about bad movies. This is not a bad movie.
No, I don't mean to say that it's shit. Oh, it sucks. It's just like the story's not good. Like, the way that he told the story is not good. The way that he progressed the story is not good.
Well, I'll say this. The way that the story's told, the story is definitely good because it's landed the test of time. I mean, it was written in 1965, and George Lucas pretty much bit everything off of it for Star Wars. It's a great story. but it is very hard to go through. It's like kind of like the Lord of the Rings, man. You gotta kind of really delve into it in order to really grasp it.
But I think it
But
was a better adaptation from Lord of the Rings because of what we were mentioning. It's nothing closing on the first one, and in those ones, it was a conflict that you knew something was gonna be close and something else, but it was chasing the ring, or it was killing the dragon, or it was reaching the tower, or it was
Well,
defending whatever.
if you guys want to know, like, if you guys want to know what happens in the later
No,
novels,
no, that's not the
I
point.
can spoil it for you right now.
That's not the point.
That should have been done by the movie, not you. That's something that we don't need another lecture about what the book was.
It's been greenlit for 2 more movies, so
He shouldn't have made
Well,
the movie for.
it should have just been a Netflix series. Am I wrong? This should have been a Netflix
hey,
series.
it could have been a better idea.
Squid Game is 8-hour-long episodes, right? And everyone's like, cool, I can take an hour at a time. You sit there for 2.5 hours in a fucking movie theater with it's like sitting in someone's snot. You're like, fuck this. You know?
No, that's not.
But no, I'm serious though.
Just-
It's just an hour-long episode, and
Story
everything is streamed
like-
anyways.
Shut up. Okay? They have a lot of content where they don't have to fucking stretch it out for it to be 2 parts in this movie and this movie. You got 7 fucking books, dude. Like, come on.
Dude, the books actually get a lot better. I'm not gonna spoil it for you, but
Idiot. Like, you know, like all I'm saying is that you can. That's the cool thing about film is that you can move forward and at any pace that you want. You can go back, forward, zip across.
you can do it. Do you know that they're doing a prequel of The Predator, where it's set back in the 1800s?
Yeah, like you don't.
It's
have
coming out next year. We're gonna cover it.
That's the cool thing about film is you dictate the time. Like, you know? So like I don't understand why he was like progressing through the story so slowly and using basically like boring parts of what could have been cool. There
I don't
were
know.
action.
That could maybe, but
And
I do think that
cutting the
I think it was done pretty well. I think it was done pretty well, except for the fact that Duncan, Idaho, was like your protagonist.
I can't believe that that's like what you are nagging about. You know,
That's
is
my only gripe.
stupid name,
Fucking guy's name.
which is literally nobody who's like made this film's fault.
Nobody thinks that.
Or is it like you are
In the book
it's
too.
really somebody who's in the grave.
Yeah,
Right.
you cannot.
Right. You're right. You're right. There is no Duncan, Idaho.
All right. Anyway,
There is.
so
He
I'm
lives in our
like,
hearts.
you know, like so those are my points. Those are my points against this picture. You know, that's why I think it's not that good. It leaves us with no one. You know, there's things that he didn't use. You know, that he had paid for. Okay. Like the story progressed too slowly, and literally that's the cool thing about directing. I've directed pictures that are awful, but I've directed pictures, and you
Oh,
can
dude, we got to splice some of those in here.
like, but you
Where can I find those?
through the through
I do. I'd love
time as fast or as slow as you want to. Okay, and you can go.
You got forward pay all of your movies.
Anyway.
I'll pay to watch them, Nikki. But I agree with
No.
you. If you have that power, just to
Why
make
not
sure
use-
that you can move it, you're the director. Do as you please.
Yeah.
Mm.
But they had really long moments of boring shit. You have to at least agree with me on that. Okay? That it had really, really, really long fucking where nothing was happening. Other than
No, it was more like building. I think it was like kind of building the scene because with me, and this is just coming from me. is that with the, and I'm comparing it to the Lynchian version. Again, in which case they're telling you everything. You have nothing but exposition. You're like, what the fuck is going on here? In this one, they trust the viewer a little bit more, to where you're like, I will show you exactly what's happening, and they don't give all that exposition, and that's one of the things that fucking burns my fucking asshole every single time. Is I'm like, ugh, why do you have to tell? Like, it's like I threw someone through a wall. It's like, yeah, we just fucking saw it. It's like, you don't have to say it. But this one trusts the viewer, I think, and that's what I like about it. That it's enough to where they say you don't have to have read the original novel in order to know what the fuck's happening.
Oh,
That's why I like.
You mean that you show up at the movie, and the movie should actually explain everything.
I think it does.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's a bare fucking minimum.
But yeah, but it does though.
That's
It accomplishes
really
that though.
far.
This
So,
movie accomplishes that.
No, you should always not have to have any additional content, and it should always stand alone, and it should always explain everything, okay, without having to read the book, okay?
No.
That's
Yeah.
the fucking bare
That's
minimum.
what this movie is. That's what this movie is.
That's the bare minimum. That's like
It
fucking
trusts
mediocre.
the viewer.
That's like mediocre filmmaking. That's like, oh, okay.
Cinematography and everything that happens in it, you're just like, okay, I'm there. Like, I am on these fucking I am on the planet of DUNE, which is fuck, what is that?
Can't remember the name, but still, I
Boy.
think this story is too complex. It's like almost Game of Thrones because of the power to control the spies and whatever. It's too complex just to leave it out there and not
Pepe's right. That's what I was
resolve
gonna
in there. Yeah, but if I'm, for example, in my case, there's a lot of things that I'm like, what? Why? It's like I haven't read the book. I'm not the nerd that spend the hours reading the book like Evan. Just help me follow it and what's gonna be happening at the end of the movie, because it's where's the climax
By the way,
of the
I read
movie?
like 2 books, so I'm an authority.
What the fuck
There's
is
like
this?
5.
Yeah.
Like what?
Yeah,
What
but
do you-
we're not describing the book. We're talking about the movie. And this one particular, not compared to the one before, because if you compare it, I mean, technology-wise, it's a lot better. Picture-wise, is greatly done. I mean,
Frank Herbert wasn't able to complete his grandiose
review.
idea. He died after the last book, in which case he wasn't able to finish it off. But I'm not gonna like he's built up to be this messiah, but he's kind of just a figurehead for the spice ring. In which case, the emperor is also a figurehead for the spice ring. In which case, like, you know that in this okay, let's just talk about this one. Okay, in Dune, right? House Atreides, right? Timothy Chalamet,
Mm-hmm.
Paul, right? He's supposed to be this messiah, some kind, right? And as opposed to like the Jesuits or what else, he is an illegitimate child of the witches, quote unquote witches, but they're pretty much witches. But they know the spice. They are all women, and so he's not supposed he's not supposed. The Messiah is supposed to be a woman, not him, not he. So when he comes up, he starts thinking that he's the Messiah, and all of his visions are completely wrong. You'll start to see it throughout the films if that's what comes true. And then his mother is, you'll see his mother like kind of sitting there being like, oh no, like this is so bad. Like all the Fremen, uh, Javier Bardem, and the rest of them start following him, which is where the last movie kind of started out. But in the David Lynch one, it's like 4 years pass, and all of a sudden, like he has a sister and all that. So, but hopefully, it kind of gets to this. It gets to that point to where that's what this whole entire story is about. Him having false visions because he's not the prophesized one.
No, it sucks because it's a setup.
It feels like it. So it leaves you hanging. So you wait
doesn't
for the
work.
next one.
Yeah, but you're waiting for the end of the book. I mean, they're only going halfway through the book, so you're just waiting on the end of Dune. But they're set up for another. They're set up to do the entire 5-book series.
Exactly my point. It's just a setup. It sets up the world. Like that's all it does.
Well, if anyone goes out and watches this movie, they're going to understand what we're talking about because they're going to be left off with them just wandering through the Dune Sea.
And it's fine as an
Which is
introductory.
where Star Wars starts.
It's fine as but Star Wars, once again, similar to the Lord of the Rings, there's a big bad weapon that it's destroyed, similar to the big bad weapon that it was later restored, and another big bad weapon that it was going to be destroyed. And that's the conflict resolved in each of the movies. And this one is just a setup to leave you hanging, wanting to know what's going to happen, and you spend 2 hours just enjoying good music, good cinematography, regular acting.
It is a great movie.
I think it does very good fan service, but to me, if I'm going without notice, it's like this is a very slow and long
It is
movie.
total fan service,
and
especially
and
for people that love the novel.
Yeah, we all agree on that one. I think that's the only thing that we all agreed.
So I'm sorry. Like I was let down, and I'm continue to stay let down by this picture. Okay, because it has it like everything that we've discussed, it just moves too slowly. It's meant to be set up for another film or many other films.
You guys want to do a quiz? I want to do a quiz. You guys want to do a quiz?
No.
Now, Evan, would you be mad if the movie
What is
moved
the
like
Shai Halud?
Oh.
No, don't leave that for the bar.
The answer is one of the greatest hardcore bands of the early 2000s.
Leave that for the bar where you go and play that trivia quiz, whatever. Now, Evan, would you be mad if in this movie they moved like 4 years in advance and they show you what happens and have at least that resolved? Why?
Yes, I would be, because there's a lot that happens between there. I mean, unless Sean Young comes out or Virginia Madsen kind of.
Look, the movie's not that good. Okay, the story isn't that good, then the movie's not that good.
I mean, Sean Young could.
And the weight is only on the cinematography. Then that's only 50%, dude. Like at most. Okay, so I can't tell you, even if the cinematography is great and the music is great, I can't tell you it's a good movie because the fucking story of it sucks. And the acting is like freaking bare minimum.
But you do realize that what do you consider Star Wars to be a great movie?
Like,
the story of Star Wars.
I would say that it's almost Star Wars went the other direction. Its story is good, but and its effects are good, but the cinematography is kind of weak. If you compare it to other films.
Wait, hold on. The new one?
No, the old ones.
Oh, the old one, the David Lynch one. Oh yeah, no, the Lynchian one was
No,
just
no, no. The old
grimy,
Star
man.
Wars.
That was like so industrial.
You said Star Wars. Fuck
You could tell that Lynch was like he just wanted to care about like there was I think in the old one there's this there's a there's a rat milking a mouse
dude.
and they made an action figure out of it.
You guys are talking about two different things. You asked him about Star Wars, he replied Star Wars, and then you stayed with David Lynch.
It all comes around. It all no, the David Lynch version of Dune is fucked up. Like he's draining body fluid out of people.
No one
And
gives a
he has a cat.
Hey,
that's from that era.
50 fucking years ago, man.
There's a rat milking a cat in order for a man who we don't even know to get his medicine. That's not in the book. So yeah, the Lynchian version is really weird.
Well, that's the freedom of the director that we were discussing so far about this new one that did not
that's
apply.
not the new one. Though. That is not the new one.
No, but we meant to go a little bit off the track and move the story forward, or ask the actor to go off the boundaries of the contained anger.
Several things that I don't like about it. So I can't say that it's good. What I will say is the cinematography and the production design is fucking magnificent.
Your sweater looks fantastic, by the way.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
My tacky Christmas sweater.
We're all wearing tacky ass shit.
I had to go and dress up because I was not dressed for the occasion. These guys.
You literally said that too. You're like, oh man, you guys are looking all spiffy.
You brought the class to the podcast, so I had to go and change.
Well, we haven't done this in a couple of months, so we've been trying to do that.
This movie, I was really let down. I was bummed. I was excited to see it. You know, like all these things. I was waiting for it, like for a good part of the year. It's not something that I enjoy coming on and dissing this movie.
Yeah.
And I would have loved to come on and been like, man, this was so awesome and it was so cool. But it just wasn't. It just wasn't. Like, you know.
Just wasn't for you?
And the movie wasn't good. I mean,
I like
it had beautiful cinematography, beautiful production design, even fine, seamless editing. You know, like,
are you unrecommending this?
You know, the sound production is very well executed. The sound engineering is
I thought it was really good too.
Okay, you know, but the story is still so freaking like bummer. And you know, the direction, I think he concentrated not enough on the performances of his actors. You know, which is kind of like right there. It's like one of the main things are those decisions. And so that's fine.
What do you think?
I don't think I would say I don't recommend it at all.
No, I wouldn't say that either.
Just mention that you will not have closure if you're looking for closure in that movie. Don't expect that to be one part of that. And I would strongly suggest go watch it on the movie theater if there's an IMAX nearby where you can have good sound, good picture. It's an event that you might enjoy it. But if I know the person that is gonna feel like, oh, it's moving too slow, when this is going to explode, and it's not gonna happen. It's not that type of movie, and I agree with Nikki. I mean, I think my expectation was a lot bigger, and did not deliver.
Cool. Well, I'm gonna agree with both of you guys on this point. But I'm also going to say this. I want to go a little bit deeper. The only thing for me, because I am obviously a fan. So if any of you haters are sitting there saying that Evan doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about, no, yet. I know all of these books. So I think that the story's going to progress, and I'm very, very happy to see what they do with it. That being said, this picture in itself is part 1 of 2 in the same book. And then, in which case, I'm such a huge fan of the David Lynch version. You know, I'm not like, I will never discount that because it's like, it's a guilty pleasure for me. But I'll also say this. Is that when these books start to come around, you don't need them to have exposition. You guys might be blown away with what happens with the rest of these books. Now, that being said, this movie does fall short of character development.
Yeah.
We agreed on 2 things on this. Wow.
It has a very weak at first
But I'm
act.
saying
Wow.
there is very weak on character development. But I'm saying just hold out because this is part 1 of 2. So might turn
That's-
out to be good.
Now, we're talking about a movie that has become a pop culture reference for some people.
A pop culture icon.
I don't know if I can. I mean, it's not as popular as Star Wars or Star Trek. It is
True.
there,
That is true.
but now I cannot say anything. I mean, I'm wearing a sweater that said Star Wars.
You're
right?
not wearing a Dune sweater.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not wearing a Dune sweater. But if you ask the vast majority of people, they are aware of what Star Wars is and not with the story of Dune. So that's, I think the movie is not doing any value to make it bigger of an icon. It's like, okay, we're talking about a movie that it was slow and did not hook me, and it was just fan service for the ones that were already fans. It's not for the new ones, or create someone that it's hooked to the story. I mean, go above and beyond with the acting, and they might fall in love with Chalamet and Oscar Isaac
Fan
and
service.
create the icons. But you and you're doing it. I mean, how many times you have said Lynch and Lynch and Lynch? You're doing a reference to that one because that's the one that you remember because those characters did something in that movie, not these ones. And that's what we're discussing.
Yeah.
Right. And that movie like holds a lot to me. Like it is nostalgia. Like Dune, the movie itself. And then in which case, I mean, if we were sitting here talking about the new Blade Runner movie, I'd probably be citing the old Blade Runner movie, you know.
So is that a
Anybody
fault?
choose-
And is that fault of the story or the director that made it? And that's coming from me that I like Denis Villeneuve. Maybe it's him that it's doing that. That it's just
I like his take on it though. I like his take on it.
I'm showing you a window so you can watch to the past, not to what I'm presenting you.
I don't know. I didn't like the newer Blade Runner.
I'm not gonna sit here and say that the
I think
old
that kinda
I'm
sucked.
not gonna sit here and say that the old Dune was good. I mean, it's terrible. There's a rat milking a cat. I mean,
Hey, Star Wars is not a good story. I mean, it's a traditional hero story, and it's repeated over and over and over again in 3 movies, and now
just watch The
12
Force Awakens.
movies. But it became an icon because it was well sold and show and portrayed. And we're discussing that is this one, it was not well portrayed. It could have been more, so much more.
What we're all saying is that it could have been better.
I love
Yeah.
it.
Could have been a lot better.
With the money, with the cast, with the budget, with the
But
Hans
also,
Zimmer.
let me just ask you guys though, knowing that there are 2 more movies coming out, what do you think?
It's terrible because you're telling me, oh, don't worry, this is too bad, but wait for the other one so you can.
Yeah,
That's
no. They
Wait,
have
the point.
Wait for Die
have
Hard
to
2.
be able to work
Exactly.
on their own.
Die Harder.
They
Dune
have
harder.
to be able to work on their own. It's not like, oh, like this one sucks, but don't worry, like
Exactly.
the next one's gonna fix how much of this sucks.
like
we
with
can,
Lord of the Rings, right? Or even but you saw how even talking about that too.
No, but for
Lord of the
me,
Rings was amazing, by the way. Lord of the Rings, I'm not trying to shit on that at all. Everyone knew it was a 3-part series, what else? But remember when fucking he came back, Peter Jackson like came back and tried to do The Hobbit, which is
Mhm.
one book. And he tried to make it a 3-part series and it bombed. And it was shit.
because it might have been
Essentially,
this.
this could be what's happening.
Why wasn't
Thoughts?
approached different? Why and that's what Nikki's point was. That's the director's fault. You have the power to move in time, to make it faster, to go back and forth, start the story
The
from the
Lynchian
last
version.
and no, don't
Speeds
reference
up,
to the
it
lynching.
speeds up 4 years out of nowhere, and he's got a sister.
Well,
Oh.
it's my movie and I make it so.
yeah.
It's how many movies we have seen that people start with the ending and start developing or
That's
Oh,
jump
we should
back
have
and
got
forth.
Christopher Nolan to do it.
Similar. It's gonna be the same result.
like
Nikki hates Christopher Nolan.
J.J. Abrams. Do it with J.J. Abrams.
yeah.
Hey, epileptic people do not pay attention. All
Now,
flash.
it could have been a movie that could leave you not hanging, wondering what's going to happen.
Okay.
It
Let
would
me
have been better.
point something out. Let me just point something out. Okay, what was the movie Inside Llewyn Davis by the
Mhm.
Coen brothers? It literally starts and ends in the same place.
Hmm.
And there's more closure in that movie than in this movie.
So does Memento.
Okay? So my point is this movie is not that good.
Was Inside Llewyn? It was an original from the Coen brothers
Yeah, I think so.
because that's an advantage. This is an adaptation.
Yeah, this is not a Coen Brothers movie, nor a Christopher
Yeah.
Nolan movie,
Which
unfortunately.
but you have more freedom. There needs to be
Yeah.
more closure. There needs to work as its own entity. You
Right.
know, you
What I'm
can't
saying though is that
necessarily
as someone who knows
felt
what's
like a
happening with
setup.
these films, is that chapter 1 is just a really quick glimpse, but it says chapter 1, so
Yeah.
you know. And kind of like with Star Wars too, where it starts off with episode 4. Fuck.
Well, that was part of the trick.
Wild. It's wild. Oh, and then you saw episode 1 and you left like crying out of the theater with the woman you love staring at you. Why is this movie so bad?
Anyway,
We're not talking about your fatal date stories,
yeah.
but once
It's better
again,
if we live. It's better if we leave that alone.
yeah,
Let's
I
not
agree.
peel back that scab.
Anyway, so all I'm
I
saying,
love how you say anyway. It's like sounds like Hemingway.
whatever. Um, so I didn't think it was that good. I was very disappointed, unfortunately.
Oh well, that's well, perception is one of those things that we all have. Our perspective is what makes us human beings. One of the things that I like to do is I like to say, is that an apple over there, or should I just make a painting? Now, what this guy did was he said, I read a book and I'm going to draw. I'm going to make a movie about a book that I read. But I don't think that in the David Lynch version, though, not the Villanueva. I feel like the Villanueva one, like it's like it is out of love for the entire book. You know, David Lynch, I don't
Wait,
think has
okay.
ever read a book,
I don't think
much less
here's,
seen a film.
here's where this is where I'm at. A fan is having to justify why it's okay for it to be bad.
I'm not saying it's bad. I'm not justifying anything. I'm just comparing it at this point. But I thought it was good. I'd say yeah. Would you guys recommend this movie? I would say yes.
I would say yes with a lot of instructions on how to enjoy it.
You gotta need the glossary.
Yeah, it's like talk to, uh, smoke a joint, talk to Evan.
Yeah, you gotta need the
read
book on
read
maps.
read,
There
read
are
the entire
maps
thing.
you might need.
Have Evan
The
go
glossary
over
in the back. There's an
5
index.
hours of briefing so you can enjoy the movie. No, I
Learn
mean,
what the Shy Halud is.
once again, I would say it's a great cinematography experience in a movie theater that it's IMAX with popcorn that you can be busy eating them all over. But it's
That's
not.
the Shy Halud right there. That's the sandworms with all the teeth.
But if I know the person and I'll say
Nick,
you're gonna
Nikki's
get
so
bored, don't go to watch it. Wait to do it at home and pause it and come back to it later, because that's what the director did. He read a book,
Like the thing
leave
is,
it in the shelf, and we'll finish it later in the other movie. Don't worry, it's gonna be better on the next one.
yeah, man. Like
the next one will be better.
you need to have read the book to enjoy this movie. Okay, it's like just for fans.
Yeah, it's a fan service, and it's
Fan service.
Sucks.
and it's good. I mean,
No,
But hella fan service though.
what? Hey, Harry Potter book of movies are for
That's fan
fans,
service too, my friend.
okay? But
That's
they are
fucking
much
hella
better.
fan service right there.
They're
yeah,
much
but better handle each book.
same thing with the Lord of
Because
the Rings. The
it's
same
too
thing
early
with
to tell.
Star
It's too
Wars.
early to tell.
No, it's not too early to tell.
30
There's
years from now, we're gonna be discussing this. Like, I tell you, it sucked and continue to suck.
Like, how dare you put down Children of Dune?
anyway.
That's a masterpiece.
So
And I agree with Nick. It's not gonna be this movie as memorable that we're not even gonna waste any time to say, did you remember that it sucked? I think it's the problem. It's forgetful. The movie is not something that you might say, oh wow,
What did you take away any values from this movie?
Hans Zimmer, cinematography, and that's about it. I mean,
soundtrack, cinematography,
yeah, I think
design
You guys
is
are so funny.
very good.
easily
What
those.
values did we take away from this movie?
No,
Some
and
cinematography,
that's what the Academy does. That's why they have those prizes. I
how
mean,
to shoot a movie.
they might give an award for cinematography or production design or even the score or the soundtrack.
And they should. And they should.
And they should.
It's and we have said that and we agree. Technically wise is well done. Movie experience,
Bleh.
we expected too much, and it has a cast that is
Well,
very
mean,
good.
Every movie.
There's nothing like story wise to walk away from.
If you know the story, if you are a fan.
Fan service.
Once again,
So I would say that this is a good movie if you like cinematography and sound and just watching something on the screen for 2.5 hours that you have no fucking clue about, unless you have the glossary and the maps.
somebody kill me how many times he has referenced Lynch movie and that he's an expert on it.
Like, who gives a shit?
I've seen it so many times. Do you guys want to see the videotape?
No, that's fine. I think we're approaching the hour on the show.
Yeah,
so we can close it.
no, we're already over the hour. Oh,
So
look at us.
it's a good point to close, I think.
Okay.
Sweet. All right.
So
We're
we are closing out.
So awesome. Yeah. Are you guys recommending thumbs up for me? I say yes, watch it. Pepe is in the middle.
Meh.
Nikki. He's struggling too. So that's a Struggies. That's 2
Thing
Struggies
is
and
that
enough. I'd say
it's
go and watch 2.5 hours of the new Dune movie. You might like it.
No, it's passable, but if you want to watch, no, you don't want to watch it. It's a boring
Two and a
movie.
half hours.
Let me put it that way.
When
But
it's all culminated,
Good
though, you
job.
gotta remember it's gonna be 9 hours long. So
Good job, Nikki. Stick to your point. I
it
agree
could have
with
just
you.
been like a Netflix series.
it's boring, watch Ex Machina
Yep.
and be done
What?
with it.
Nah,
Yeah.
watch Squid Game. Better.
No, watch. Well, Squid Game's cool.
Yeah.
Watch that. But
Episode
Yeah.
5 of
I mean,
Squid
it's
Game.
gonna be the same length, but you don't have to go to the theater to see it.
But definitely watch Ex Machina instead of any of that.
Oh, Ex Machina is so good. We've
Yeah.
already talked about that one. Anyways,
The
thank you
Machina-
so much, villains. I guess this is where we're signing off. Thank you
Peace.
so much. I do to you and you.
Alright.
and you, and
Bonjour.
you. I see you over there. I see you.
Bonne nuit. Au revoir.
Oh,
Oh, bye.
cool.
All right. Are we doing the?
Next episode, give me
predictions?
like 5 minutes.
Yeah, I was gonna.
You want to do the next one?
I was gonna say the same. Can we have a break?
Yeah.
Oh
All right.
my God, yes.
All right.
Dude. Let me I'm still kind of doing what Pat does. I'm still recording, so we can actually take some of these out.
Oh, you're doing the outtakes.
Yeah, because like people don't understand like what we're like. But I'll stop recording though. I'll stop recording.
All right.
All right.
Well,
But these are
we'll
gonna
be
be fun.
back. We'll be back